Look at that little innocent face. Hey? Now, today's video, you'll get to see the usual random clips from me, but you'll also get to see what Nero broke next. I know Hoytsy's still got his pyjamas on. But he's having a little morning roll. And it'll be going in the wash later anyway. He had his toes done yesterday. You may remember last time he had them done, he was quite sore for a few days. And it turned out he had a little bit of a problem with one of his feet. So I was quite keen to see how he was when he walked out this morning. And he was a bit pottery. But he's not too bad, are you? Hoytsy's also having his toes done today. Chris is happy with how they're looking, so he'll be getting his little wedges on again, which help with the angle of his foot to help him manage his arthritis. So you can see that's the wedge that's still in place, and that will go back on once his feet have been combed. There we go, there's Hoytsy's nice fresh shoes. You need a little bit of a leg trim, young man. So Niki News, who also had a shoe back on yesterday and her foot packed out because it looks to have cleared up well enough without the need for having to chop away half her hoof. She's stretching her legs on the walker because Chris has suggested that it is still better to keep her up here for the rest of the winter while the ground's still so bad. So although the hole in her foot is packed out, it's just being on the safe side just in case anything does get through and travel up through that very big gap there is. But she was quite happy to go on the walk this morning. She's been getting a little bit stir crazy with being inside. And then over there, just having a scratch, is Queen Annie, who I took her jumper off this morning. And she's joined in there by her wifey Dow. Nika's just come off the walker. And surprise, surprise, look who's taken himself on there. Little floppy doos. Do you want to go for a walk again? He just wants to have a good old sniff. This is his third trip round. Let's see if he's going to come off this time. Nope, he wants to keep going. Hoytsy, don't start challenging him. You can't get to him while he's in the walker. Good morning, everybody. Happy weekend. Prince has got into the routine of having an early morning snooze. So Frey's enjoying her morning coffee with him. And she's got Costa, because I have actually been out to Costa this morning because it was really quite sad this morning because I took Bailey off. He's gone off on his skiing trip, so he's away for the week. I then had to chase the coach down the road because he'd forgotten his AirPods. So it's been a little bit of a full-on morning. So I might go and sit and sleep with Prince myself. Oh, look at that little face. Aww. For a pony that never really liked people.
He'll still headbutt you. He likes to try and knock you over if you crouch with him.
He's not doing that now, though.
No.
And he's not trying to steal your coffee, or your hot chocolate, rather.
No.
Aww, little Princey. We've got Tony here today, and we've been talking through an awful lot of different projects that we need his help with. one of which is the girls' turnout area down here that we want to create for next winter. Where that white pipe is and where this one is over here, that's a gas pipeline that runs across that field, which does have an effect on the area that we work in. So we're looking at all the different options at the moment. As you know, we've got that fundraiser going. I can't give you an accurate price right now because it's going to come down to whether we look at getting permitted development for a more permanent structure down there, or whether we look at more of a mobile shelter like we've got there. But Tony's also been looking at areas that we can move our muck trailer to, as well as the new water supply, getting that up to the barn and the static. But Tamara's giving Michael grief again because
Michael always gets...
Do you care? No.
You always get my messages, and for some reason you knew Tony was coming at 10:30.
Yeah, but it didn't make a noise, and I'm in a quiet place inside.
And even
Consider yourself reprimanded.
this once.
So the meeting with Tony as well included talking about that new water supply that we've got coming across the Hoytzer and Jubba's garden, which now needs to travel up here and across the yard over there to go up and feed the barn up the top, so that we can have constant water for the horses without it being affected by how much water is being used in the house, the shippen and the cottage. So I think we're there. It's quite complicated, and of course we have stone that needs digging through, and we may need a pecker, but the good thing is Tony does all this kind of groundwork. Michael knows what he's doing, so hopefully we'll be able to just leave them to it, and Tamara will keep on top of what they're doing and no doubt film some of it to share with you all. I'm down with the boys, and if you saw our live this morning, you'll have seen that they're all a little bit agitated at the moment. They're getting a little bit stir crazy with being cooped up in this smaller space. Now, one of the reasons that they're in here is because Nero obviously got very sore on that back leg after the New Year fireworks. So I haven't wanted to put them out in the field for him to be sort of running through all the wet ground. Now, he is still more sore than I would like him to be, obviously. I never want him to be sore. And he's getting to the point where he's actually being quite mean to Hunnis and chasing him around too much. So we're going to bring him in today, and I'm going to let the rest of the boys out into the fields, and Nero can come up and spend a bit of time up at the yard just over the next couple of days, maybe a week or so that he can have a sleep in the stable. I can monitor him more and monitor his meds and see how he's doing with that leg. And all the other boys can release a little bit of tension out in the field. They'll obviously still have access to this area and their haylage that they've got in the shelter there. But they can release a bit of that pent-up energy. What do you think, Iceman? He says, I don't have pent-up energy. I'm the coolest dude going. So Nero was very, very keen to come up the road. There was a bit of leaping and jumping. And he's just going to stay in here with Uncle Hidda. Little Floppy Doo is going to be babysitter. Oh, and Dale just wants to come over and flirt, because that's just Dale's thing. Oh, it's very exciting. Very, very exciting. Yeah, he was very pleased to come up here because, of course, he's not been up here for a while. And it's interesting because he's walking so much better there than he was doing down in the turnout. Oh, go on, Nero. Go on. You could. Well done. he'll feel good for that. It's very exciting to be back up at the farm, up at the yard, isn't it? Very, very exciting. I'm about to let the boys through into their muddy field. Now, because they're in here, one of the nice things is that they don't get completely covered in mud. Ooh, but that's not nice. So what I'm doing before they go out into the field is I'm just coating their legs in some pig oil, which will hopefully deter a lot of the mud and stop it sticking. I will put some through his tail as well. It's looking quite grey just because they tend to roll in here on the stones. Iceman had a leg trim with Jodie yesterday, so his are looking a little slicker, but I'll still put some pig oil on those. The good thing is it is actually supposed to be dry this coming week. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. It won't dry the field out completely, but hopefully it means that it's not quite as wet and soggy as it would usually be. There's Hannes in there, tucking into his haylage. And I've just got the pig oil here, and we'll spray it over his legs as well. Let's see whether they fancy coming through into the field. Go on, Iceman. Come on, Uber. That's Uber and Iceman. So you can see it is still quite squelchy out there, which is going to make it quite sticky and quite claggy to walk through, which is why I didn't want Nero going out there. Oh, here comes Angel Eyes. So this bit is worse down here. This is quite claggy round here, but once they get into the larger part of the field and even through into the next door one, the ground's a little bit better and hopefully will continue to dry a little bit this week. Can't beat the taste of grass compared to haylage. Always tastes that little bit nicer.
It's also really proper, but
They're having a good old run around down there. I think it's because it's turned chillier. So they like to have a run around just to keep warm. Oh, they're having lots of fun. Mind you, there is lots of noise coming from down there at the moment, so I don't know what's going on at the farm down the road. So maybe that set them off. Annie's got her way. She's got her mum for a bit of pamper time now. Haven't you, darling? Yeah? She's got an awful lot of hair coming out at the moment. even though it's freezing outside, she's starting to shed her winter coat already. Oh, is that nice? She says that's nice, Mum. So we use, when they start shedding their coat, we use what's called furminators quite a lot. But all our furminators happen to have broken, so I'm just using this one right now. But that does a good enough job, and it's slightly serrated on the edges there. But because her coat is so thick, it doesn't go down to her skin. And this is where you have to be quite sensitive. She's getting agitated because I've stopped. When they start getting a thinner coat, you obviously need to not push so hard against them because it's more likely to scratch their skin. But as I say, her coat is very thick at the moment, so I can apply quite a bit of pressure to help loosen and move those loose hairs that are ready to come out. And it's things like this where when the winter coat is ready to come out, or even the summer coat, they can get quite itchy just because that loose hair is sitting there, and it can be irritating. So you tend to find they want to roll more, they want to scratch more. So whether that's rolling in the fields or in the turnouts. And this is why, you know, taking their rugs off when it does get a bit milder or it's dry is nice, because it allows them to breathe a little bit more, their coats to breathe a little bit more. He does very quick to exit the round pen after his babysitting duties. And Nero is about to come out and go into Bessie's barn for a little bit. But because Hoitzer and Nika go in the turnout over there, we've had to make sure that we put another energizer on here with a battery. Because otherwise, you'd be testing the boundaries again, wouldn't you, sweetheart? The following bit of video shows Nero having his first experience in Bessie's barn, and you'll see how putting him in an environment that he was unsure of again made him revert back to those behaviours that he had before he came and that he's had while he's been here. And you'll see at the end that he's far more relaxed like this than he was at the start. He's done some damage, not to himself, but to our tie-ups. But you know, it's Nero. Do we expect anything different to that? No, we don't. Do we, gorgeous? Mwah! You cheeky boy. Oh, Nero, what do we think? What do we think? Eh? I'll get the solarium on for you in a second. We need to take the jumper off first. Hold on. No, that's quite rude. Go back. Go back. Good boy. Good. Come back. No, that's rude. Go over the top of me. Come back. And sometimes when they've been out in the field for a while and they've not been doing a lot, they can go what I call a little bit feral. Forget their manners a little bit. And also, you have to think, this is actually Nero's first time coming in here. So I could just leave him loose in here. But there's lots of things on the floor that he would be playing with. So I'm going to have him restrained for a bit. And I'll just get his jumper off and then pop the solarium on. And very often just having that little bit of warmth on them helps them just to sort of switch off and relax. And it's why on a day when it suddenly gets chilly after it's been quite mild, you can find that they are quite animated and agitated like they have been today, because all of a sudden it's got a bit colder, so they need to move around that little bit more just to keep warmer. There, what do you think? What do you think, young man? Oh, you're very, very grubby. You're very, very grubby. Yeah. I've not put his rainbow halter on. So, that's where he shows how strong he is. So he's just pulled off one of the quick release, but this is where using a bit of baler twine is too weak. These are a little bit stronger, so they have Velcro either side. But if a horse panics or pulls too much, they will pull apart. So even though there's a chain on here, so he's getting a little bit agitated now, but I'm just going to stay nice and quiet and calm, because he needs to learn it's nothing to be worried about. Come, sweetheart. Oh, this is very, very different. I'm not quite sure about this. Yeah, he's a good boy. Go back. Go back. Good. Good. Yeah. So this is where he knows now that that one is going to pull away. So this is where it's a learnt behaviour now, that he knows that if he pulls hard enough, he's going to escape. So I'll just spend a bit of time just asking him . So there, where he's pooing, that's just because he's showing that he's anxious in a new setting. So we call it a stress poo. So what I'm going to do for a minute is I'm just going to tie him on the one quick release. We're not very happy about being here. And he's figured out that if he pulls hard enough.
Yeah, that Velcro does that.
So we'll just have him on the one for now. So he's actually now pulled the whole ring out of the wall. And you know, this just shows the strength of him, because that was drilled into stone. And this is where we need to get on top of the groundwork, and I need to be able to find that time to spend with him to help him learn a little bit better that when he's in a stressful situation that he's uncomfortable with, he's got to learn how to manage his body and accept those external pressures and be a little bit more respectful to people around him. But his lips are really tightly pursed shut right now because he doesn't know what he's doing in here and why he's in here. So we're just going to spend a little bit of time just getting him to switch off and accept that it's something different. But of course, he can't see another horse from in here. He'll be worried that he's not going to be able to see anyone else, and then he gets that whole separation anxiety. There. So I just want to see him start relaxing. Boy. But it's only by taking the time in situations like this, whereby you can help the horses learn to understand that no matter where you take them, as long as you've got that trust, they should trust you that you're not putting them in an uncomfortable, difficult environment. So I know if I just walked away and left him in here, the chances are that he'd jump over the door or he'd try to. Good. Good. So there, he's dropped his head. So much like the groundwork that I was doing, you look for that release of tension and for some licking and chewing. And every time he tries to go over the top of me, I have to wave the rope at him to tell him to step back. But now he's beginning to accept that it's nothing unpleasant. Good. But you know, this kind of thing takes a lot of time. And as I said, because he's been out in the field and he hasn't been up for a few weeks, he'll have reverted back to those learned behaviours that he had before he came. And until I can have that time to consistently work him, sort of 4 or 5 times a week, we're not going to get past that. Good boy. Good. So all the time I'm watching his eye, I'm watching his mouth, I'm watching his whole body language to see whether he's switching off. Okay? Good, good. Because, of course, it just showed he sort of went into panic mode and thought, oh, I've been brought to a new place and she's going to leave me and it's stressful. Now we're just helping him understand that it's nothing to be scared of. Good. Good. Just give him a nice experience in here. Good boy. Okay. He's a good boy. So a lot of the others, you know, they come in here for the first time and they're a bit stressy, but they don't see it through to, you know, pulling rings out the wall or breaking the bungee ties, because they've learned that that's not acceptable. Good boy. So we'll just give him a nice little groom and make it a nice experience so that next time he comes in here, he'll know that it's nothing to be worried about. Oh, he's a good boy. Oh, is that nice? Yeah? Good boy. But the whole idea of the groundwork, and when we start going to Mel's, and what I'd like to do is take him every week from the beginning of March, is Mel will introduce different pressures as he goes through the training, and probably each time we raise the pressure too high, he'll do that whole thing of trying to drag me off around the arena like he did on his first session, because that's his go-to reaction. But through that training, we'll help him understand that no matter how high the pressure gets, he needs to listen to me or anyone that's handling him and respond in a more polite way. Good boy. Oh, is that nice? Is that nice? Yeah? So there, he tried to push past me because he could hear a horse outside. So I just raised my hand to let him know that, you know, he can't come past me, he can't come barging over the top of me, which is what he was doing earlier. Good. Good. You know, they are incredibly strong, you know, and no human will ever beat the strength of a horse. So it is about mutual respect. And he'd just forgotten that momentarily, hadn't he, Nero? Yes. But we're back to listening. Yeah, we're back to listening. Little boy. See, it's not scary in here. It's nice. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll work our way up to being on the cross ties again. And I'll perhaps ask Michael to put a stronger connection onto the wall there. Good boy. Straight away over to the hose, trying to now chew on that. Which is why I don't want to leave him loose in here, and it's why we wanted a cupboard round the hose, which is just round there. He was having a good look at it to see whether it was something he could chew on. But there, just by waving my hands towards his chest and towards his knees, he knows now to step back out of my space. Good boy. So it doesn't take long to remind them of those manners, does it? Mwah. You're a very, very cheeky boy. Right, let's get a jumper on you. Boy, oh, he's a good boy. You're not to chew my jacket. You're not to chew my jacket. No,
I wake up in the morning with a smile on my face, feeling thankful for the love and the happiness we chase. Sun is shining brightly, sky so blue and clear. With every breath I take, I'm grateful you are near. So grateful, yeah. Thank you for the laughter, thank you for the tears. Thank you for the moments that we hold dear. Thank you for the love, thank you for the light. easy place, with valleys and with peaks, but you bring joy into my life. Turn frowns into cheeks through all the ups and downs. You've been my saving grace. With every step we take, our love will find its place. With every step we take, our love will find its place.